All right, welcome back to the Ascended StarCraft League Season 3 Challenger League, round of 32, Group A. It's the first day of matches officially for the new season. And we do have the final match going down. It's a Zerg versus Zerg. And I'll start us off with the introductions. And you know what? I think this time I'm going to go for my best Rorschach/Batman impersonation.
Perfect.
And spotting in the bottom left corner, representing 440 Gaming, he is your green Zerg player, the Giant Gnome.
So optimal.
Was it?
So optimal.
I feel like I exceeded expectations.
Expectations were exceeded. And in the top right, in the red, in the Zerg from FXL, we have our player, Quakecomm.
And already some radically different changes or starts from the opponents. We've got one producing drones, and the other one is producing red drones. So we've got green drones on one side, we've got red drones on the other side.
It's Christmas.
How do you think this is going to pan out? The difference in who's producing drones and who's producing the other drones?
Well, seeing as how it's a pull first versus a hatch first.
Oh,
build.
God damn it! That ruined the whole fucking.
No, I don't think it'll impact it too much. Quakecomm's doing the pull first, of course, because he wants to be a little bit more defensive. He's not quite as confident in his ability to hold off anything too early.
And you know what? That's going to go ahead and lend credence to your theory that you think Giant Gnome's got this, because
I think Giant Gnome's got this.
If he's got the psychological advantage coming in, of course, you know, the game can pan out a number of ways. But if you take hatch first, it means you're confident. It means I can defend whatever sort of early pressure, and I can hold it until the mid to late game to get the army composition that I want. That is going to pay dividends.
Yeah, definitely. And seeing, I mean, the second game that I saw of Giant Gnome, the first game I wasn't so confident in. The second game, I was like, all right, you could probably take the third game. And then he didn't, and I was surprised. But seeing as how I've seen him play, now he's probably warmed up a little bit. I'm more confident in his abilities. But we'll see what Quakecomm could do. Hatchery about to finish up for our Giant Gnome.
Yeah, I'm a little, disappointed that I came in with the Batman impersonation, and then you just totally dropped the ball on that. I feel like you could have done a Peter Parker impersonation.
I don't have to impersonate Batman.
God damn it.
I am Batman.
That's not... I was going to run with the whole glasses thing.
That's true.
And you're a Zerg, so radioactive spiders kind of makes sense.
Yeah, of course. Except the real thing is, what does Spider-Man sound like?
Well, kind of like you, I guess.
That's okay, fair.
I don't know.
If I had silly string on my desk right now, it would be so convenient.
You would be able to pull back with it. That's the cue, right? Puberty must have been so confusing for Spider-Man. No, he didn't get the spider powers until he was
until after
late teen, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, that could have been a mess.
That could have been literally
like a literal mess, right? How would you explain that as an ant? I don't get it. I just shoot this shit out of my hands whenever I don't. He is going to get 2 lings in here. Giant Gnome is going to get a little good scatter around. He does see the Baneling nest down to the natural. Do you think that's a bit of a fake? Because I feel like if you're going to hide tech, of course a Baneling nest, not too crazy.
Baneling nest for Zerg, if you put it in the front, it's not hidden. It's just defensive. He's putting the spine crawler here. It's very defensive Banelings. He's just going to drone up and put like 4 lings and make them into Banelings. So that way, if any ling rush comes, he's just like, lol, I have Banelings.
It turns out, Terran aren't the only people who can, and Protoss who can wall off. Zerg can do it as well. Exactly. Innovative shit, guys. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
Well, ever since they changed the spine crawlers to actually prevent units from running by them and being a real building, then Zergs could wall off. Red's going to get lings in here too, so he's going to get a scout as well.
Yeah, so not much different in terms of what the build orders are coming out with, but we do have Lair coming for both players. A little earlier for Quakecomm. What sort of advantage is that going to give him, if at all, through the mid game?
To be fair, very little. He went for the pool first, so I mean, there's not too much difference in terms of economy, but I mean, there shouldn't be. But a hatch first does give you an advantage of 3 or 4 drones for the most part for the most early game, and we see Giant Gnome does have that. He's got about 6 extra drones past Quakecomm. Quakecomm just catching up, and all of them have 4 base saturated. I mean, 4 gases saturated. So sure, Quakecomm's going to get a little bit earlier of Spire, but honestly, it doesn't matter. In mirror matchups, you almost want to be the one that's building the tech a little bit behind your opponent because that means you have 1 or 2 more workers than your opponent.
That's a good point, and I think that's something that we tend to discount a little bit in mirror matchups. You say, oh, wait, I have this further. If you scout a timing, oh, it's okay because I'm going to have this sooner. When in reality, if you let that advantage slip for a minute and a half or so, the tech for a Zerg is already there, and now the number count is what makes the difference as opposed to the advantage in the timing. And so that's a good point. And as we look at the minerals and gas, a bit bigger of a bank for TheGiantNome that is going to allow him to push out a healthy number of lings to kind of, I don't know, maybe make some early pressure on this expansion here in the third.
Yeah, and Green's going to go ahead and do aggression here. He's actually done some pretty good kind of mind aggression with these lings here. He's been throwing them into the Banelings and only killing these Banelings. He's going to go ahead and try and surround these Banelings, but
we got him canceled.
I don't like this engagement. He can't take this engagement. He doesn't have enough lings in the first part, and that Baneling's there as well. So he needs to be careful here. He needs to back off just a little bit. Try and get the Baneling. He gets the Baneling.
Oh, he got it. Holy cow. Did he detonate that, or did he actually...
I think he got it. I think he just didn't have it on his command. Yeah.
Right. He didn't have
and this hatchery, this third hatchery coming up for green so much earlier than reds. And like I said, tech, you can be a little bit behind. But with hatchery, with expansions, you want to be a little bit ahead of them. And he's really he's really capitalizing on the fact that, like... Because it comes down to, like, sure, if you have your Spire, like, 30 seconds before I do, you may have 5 Mutalisks scout before I do, but my 5 Mutalisks or 6 or 7 Mutalisks are going to pop when yours arrive.
Yeah, they're going to pop, and I'm going to be ready for you. We do have a lot more lings coming across.
Bane lane.
Plus,
massive hit.
Yeah, we do have mutas in favor of TheGiantNome. He's already got him out on the field, so he's able to defend his third relatively easily, and he's able to transfer drones now.
Yeah, and you can see the difference here. Like I said, sure, the Spire finished for Quakecomm first, but he just didn't have the gas really to kind of go into mutas immediately. Whereas TheGiantNome, a little bit later, but he got it.
Yeah, I think what's funny here is that both players are getting a little bit supply blocked. The scouting overlords, one was weakened severely by TheGiantNome's mutas. I think like he could have pushed and finished it. I just don't know that he knew that if you take out a scouting overload, you're going to be able to get a supply block. Lings are going to surround a spine crawler. Not really a need for that because the queen transfuses and they're going to get mopped up by Quakecomm's lings.
And the mutas fought, and that was a bad fight from TheGiantNome because Quakecomm has 3 or 4 more mutas than TheGiantNome had in that fight. Now it's 9 to 10, but I mean, he doesn't have 9 across the field yet.
Yeah, he doesn't have them all together
as well.
And the resupply is quicker. Obviously the eggs are right there. So
needs to be careful.
The cocoons. Yeah, he does have a slight supply advantage, but right now this is turning out into the type of ZVZ that honestly I would pay attention to way more as opposed to what seems to be the meta these days is the Roach versus Roach, which is this really fast, Lingbane Muta versus Lingbane Muta, and really exciting. We have another counterattack coming about. TheGiantNome's gonna have to pull back his forces to the third. He doesn't even have that thing saturated. I don't know if he pulled drones. He had to pull drones earlier, or maybe he lost them in an earlier attack. He's gonna get a surround on this.
Getting the gas, and he's going to try and take it, but I think there's just enough Mutalisks for green here. He's going to actually try and snipe it. Not going to have quite enough to do it.
The queen doesn't have enough to transfuse, but he's not going to... Yeah, you're right. He doesn't have the ling numbers. Yeah, so he only had the gas... Sorry about that. They're battling that there over the one of the expansions. A couple mutas lost for Quakecomm. What are the muta numbers right now?
Muta numbers right now, it's 13 mutas in
to 21.
Yeah, to 21 Quakecomm's favor. So once he gets them grouped up, or in TheGiantNome's favor rather, once he gets them grouped up, he'll have the advantage. But right now he has them kind of split apart for the most part.
No, he's gonna snipe this hatch.
Yeah.
Is he? Because he's got the mutas are a little bit bothered by the other mutas. That's really low. It's down to 1. Oh, he's gonna get it.
He's pulling back.
No way.
I wouldn't have even pulled back from that fight.
GG.
Says GG.
Wow. All right, welcome back. We've got game 2 of the final match of the night. It's another ZVZ. Or it's actually the ZVZ of the night. So just in case you guys were wondering, I saw some discussion going on in the Twitch chat. ASL does host bronze, silver leagues, but there wasn't enough interest this season around. So next season, if you guys down there in those lower leagues want to go on and join up, there's certainly enough manpower to go around for you little lower league players who want this sort of competition. And we are on the Challenger League. This is the first night. It's Group A of Platinum, or no, rather, Diamond and Masters players. We've got the Giant Gnome spawning in the bottom left corner. He is our green Zerg, the Giant Gnome, representing 440 Gaming. All right, hold on. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay.
All right, I gave you Batman.
You gave me Batman.
I gave you Batman / Warshock. It was. I think it was okay. I don't know what you got going for me. I'm gonna leave it up to you.
Perfect.
I think you did the NPR voice pretty well. So if you want to go for the tried and true.
The tried and true. I'm gonna have to think about this.
It's NPR, right. Isn't it?
In the top right position in the team, from FXL, our third player, Quakecomm.
That was so silky smooth. You know what? That voice was for people who enjoy late night jazz.
Yeah, it's true. There's a level of like, there's the adjective silky smooth is one under NPR smooth.
You're right.
It's true.
You're right. It is. I feel like the only difference is silky smooth has got that. You know what? Like it's smoother, but it still has a bit of an edge to it. And NPR is kind of like a blanket. It's like, you know, that's nice and soft. But silky smooth is like it's like a pimp. Right. It's like a James Brown. That's silky smooth. Right. Nice. Well, we do have a gasless opening for Giant Gnome in the bottom left, who took game one, and he's trying to get out of the group with a win. Would seal it for him. It's the ace match, as it were. Oh no, it's not the ace match. It's not 1-1. So if he takes it, he goes on. Potential is the next game.
Look at that spine crawler from Giant Gnome. My lord, that is a fast spine crawler.
So I think he's playing a little defensive, obviously.
He's just like, you're not going to rush me. It's not going to happen. I don't care.
And he goes ahead and gets a scout. He sees the pool shimmering, so he sees that Ling speed is going to be quicker than him since he hasn't even taken a gas. But the spine crawler's there already. Not too worried about that. No, not a lot of mind games going on. Both are droning up. Both are getting their injects on, and their overlords in scouting positions. So not too much craziness. But I mean, like you said, the earlier spine crawler. I think Giant Gnome thinks that if he gets it into a mid-game position, that his play is better.
Yeah.
And so he says, if I get there, I'm good. I'm not going to let you beat me in the early game, in the early part of the game, and allow you to get a cheap win off of me. I want to get us to the mid-game point, and I'll beat you. And as I say that, he takes both of his gases at his natural.
Yeah, and I like this. He knows the aggression's coming, so, I mean, it could go south for him. It's definitely possible. It could happen. But, I mean, and sure, he made that, early spine crawler, but he's making the evolution or the Roach Warren, I should say. And he's got a queen there. I think he'll be able to hold this more or less well.
What is it, 16 lings on the way, and he's already got, almost 16 lings on the map. Yeah, he's got 16 lings on the map and then 12 more. The Roach Warren's going up, like you said, down there in the natural, as well as an evolution chamber to pretty much successfully block off the main ramp there. If he needs to pull drones, he can. And he scouts the massive amount of speedlings coming in. Do you think he holds this?
Yes. Also, I now realize that this is just a very aggressive, fast roach build, and that's the reason of the spine crawler.
Okay, so he's going to go ahead and say, I don't need to use larva to produce drones or lings. I'm just going to go ahead.
He needs to get those queens up there, though. It's the thing. If those lings get in, they might be able to do damage. I'd rather not.
He's got another Evo.
No.
Oh, he didn't get the block, and the lings come into the natural. Now they're going right into the main, past the queens and the spine crawler. He's definitely going to get some drone kills off of this. Is it going to be enough? Because he sees the Roach War and he sees everything. Do you think he's going to be able to get? He's trying to snipe the hatchery.
Well, he's going to get. He is going to get it. He's going to get the natural, the main. But he's going to lose all the lings too. So it's kind of a weird trick. Oh, the transfuse. Not enough. But it was so close. Oh, that queen had almost 50 energy. It had like 48 when it died. That's too bad. So he's going to go into immediate lair, which I like. I mean, 5 evolution chambers. How many upgrades do you want?
Have you been upgraded today? Yeah, I mean, we do have roaches on the field. you know the ZVZ game better than I do. I feel like that went heavily in favor of Quakecomm, and I think he's in a good position now. Even
And
though it was a
honestly,
quick roach build.
honestly, I'm willing to say that Quakecomm can take this game as long as he doesn't get too ahead of himself and doesn't get too aggressive and starts macroing up behind this. I think he can take this game. And it really came down to like the positioning of the queens. One queen in between two evolution chambers in the back of that's not going to die to Ling. So there's no reason to have the other three queens behind it.
Right, and he's gonna have the he's gonna have the transfuses available to keep those queens alive for long enough for the roaches to pop. And if that happens, he holds the main hatchery because he wasted a transfuse essentially on the main, which he could have used for the wall off. He just, I mean, we're talking about it in terms of what he was thinking. At the time, it was a millisecond that he missed that evolution chamber.
Yeah.
So that it really did come down to a split-second decision that went in favor of Quakecomm. And we could be talking about a very different game right now had those Lings not busted through that wall.
Yeah, definitely. And this is what I like. Quakecomm's taking a third base, and this is perfect. Sure, Giant Gnome sees it, but honestly, I don't think it's too big of a deal that he sees it. Might even get supply blocked here if he's not too careful. Just manages to get out of that, I think. Spire coming down for Quakecomm though, and he's trying to take the advantage that he has. The only one disadvantage that I want to say here is Spire takes a long time, takes 100 seconds, and so do Mutalisks to get out. So if Giant Gnome spotted the Spire and is like, yo, you're making Spire, if he does a big roach push, and he's making roaches now, if he does a huge roach push, that will defeat the Mutalisks, and that will actually push into the space here. But queens get caught out, the roaches are going to do a little bit of damage, but these Lings are just enough, I think, to actually surround the roach. No, not quite enough.
I don't think he would have been able to get this round anyway, but just killing those two queens maybe set him back a little bit.
Oh, if these roaches push out, if the Lings spot the roaches, they're going to be able to get a pretty good surround. The math, more or less, is 3 or 4 Lings to a roach, as long as you can't get too many roaches like in between other roaches.
And the roaches are going to push the third. They're going to try and snipe it. But is this a good decision? I don't think this is from Giant Gnome.
And he's got this. Yeah, he needs to group up against the wall. Perfect decision by
good. Like you said, it's a good placement of his roaches. Yeah, he's going to be fine. The Lings don't really do that well, and mutas don't melt roaches. Roaches can. You really don't need hydras. I mean, this push might win the game.
Yeah. The only thing is now that he's got this, he took out the Lings and everything. He needs to not focus. I mean, it's good that he got it and it didn't take that too long. But honestly, I would have preferred he just walked into the base. Because doing the drone damage, taking out the queens, yeah,
right, yeah,
that's what it's going to come down to. Good
transfuse. The hatchery doesn't, in the end, make that big of a difference in terms of compared to like losing all your drones mining at the natural, does it?
Now he needs to actually micro these roaches and make sure that they're focus firing drones there. Yeah. But I mean, besides that, it's all right. The only thing is, like I said, roaches can kind of just tank mutas for a while. He's gotten eight drone kills already. So 8 drone kills to 1.
Okay, so now here we are, and in the original play of the game, he missed the Evo chamber by a millisecond to wall off the Lings, and then he lost the main. And then he hits a timing where he pushes with roaches before the Ling and Muta numbers are enough to hold it off, which, to be fair, would have to be a lot in the first place. And goes and cancels or gets rid of a third. He didn't cancel it. He totally sniped it. Right. That was the play he had to make, and he's still behind.
Yeah.
Right? What's running through his mind right now? He's got to make a play. Where's he going to find the angle? He's got 5 Evo chambers.
Okay. I'll say this. He's not as behind as he could be. Quakecomm, I feel overcommitted to the Lings. When I said I wanted him to macro up, I wanted him to macro up. Yeah. And he knew his opponent had roaches, so he shouldn't have remained on Lings. He shouldn't have gotten into that fast Mutalisk. He should have taken his own roaches and either made it a roach versus roach fight, which he would have won because he had 3 bases, or a roach into transitioning into Mutalisks.
Yeah, he saw the roaches pop out, so to me it is a little strange decision now that he's, like you said, he's straight away from roaches in the first part, and then also he's going for banelings. So maybe he's getting a little too ahead of himself and thinking, maybe I can get in and get some drones, or maybe my opponent is going to tech switch into Hydralisks or something.
I mean, the only thing this says to me is that he's really hyper comfortable with just Ling mid Muta. He's not comfortable playing Roach Hydra or with Roach.
Which, to be fair, Giant Gnome has gone Hydra Roach, and he has more Hydras than Roaches, which I feel like Banes are actually a good response to that because if you
It's
can
true.
get them around the corner, and Hydralisk speed is still, on its way. The muscular augments, it's still some time. And if you can get a good surround with those bangs, you can completely nullify the
Right.
ability of the Hydras to do the damage they need to do.
I'd like to see Bane speed, but honestly,
He's moving off creep. He doesn't need it. The Hydras are super slow in the first place. Like,
yeah. Well, so are Banes though. Is the thing.
he's got so many,
but
though.
oh my god, yeah, he does. But Hydras can split just like
He's
Marines.
splitting just like Marines, just a
And they're-
little slower.
And their DPS is quite a bit heavier
Yeah.
than Marines.
Okay,
and,
so
these
I
Banes
can-
are gonna get shut down.
I completely misread that. Why didn't you, Tyrannus, you're a fucking idiot, me? Why didn't you tell me?
Tyrannus, you're a fucking idiot.
God damn it, why are you casting?
These Mutas should be able to clean up the Hydralisks though. But like I said, Roaches can tank so long under Mutalisks that these two Roaches are gonna, or these three Roaches are gonna be able to distract the Mutas long enough.
And
They're not
there's
even gonna
enough
distract
roaches
them.
in the natural now, too.
Yeah, yeah. You put a couple Roaches in the natural, 5 or 6. Put some in the main. I mean, it just comes down to the Roaches doing all the damage. And those Roaches should not be focusing the lair. They're not going to be able to kill it before the Mutalisks kill them. They should be doing drone damage because they aim them by the mineral patch.
So do you disagree
but-
with the decision to split the roaches then? Because I feel like if you
No,
keep the
no, no,
roaches
no.
together, you can
No, no.
you can target down a hatchery and then get all the drones off
Well,
like the natural or something like that.
When you have this kind of play, you want to do economic damage, but you don't want to kill hatcheries. It doesn't matter about the hatcheries because they only produce like a couple larvae at a
Right,
time.
right,
So
right.
the only thing that I disagree with is that he was focusing the lair. Splitting is what you want to do. You distract the mutas because then he has to take time and he loses a mineral line. Like he lost that bottom mineral line. And so even though sure, he lost his main base in the beginning of the game, he's gotten 26 worker kills. And there's a bunch of Hydras here. Hydras are going to go down, I think. They're going to have to back up and he's going to lose his third because there's still a pretty big muta count. So he has to be aware of that. But he does have the army supply right now.
I'm going to be
and
perfectly honest. I have no read on where this game is going because, I don't see this every day. But,
Right.
Muta versus Hydras, I would have figured would have, gone maybe. But the Muta numbers are so high right now. We have close to 20, 20 so Mutas on the field.
Right.
He's able to pick off the Hydras one by one. And you see that the Giant Gnome is basically pulling his Hydras back until he gets a healthy dose of them to be able
And
to
he
compete.
needs a lot of Hydras to deal with this. I mean, all the mutas are like coming in a couple at a time, so he's going to get a few free muta kills, but there's so many mutas here, they're going to be able to wreck through these Hydras. Spore Crawlers are absolutely amazing against mutas, though, and the Hydras are just going to be enough with that Spore Crawler to push back these mutas.
Yeah,
Spore
that was
Crawlers
a-
do 45 damage against Mutalisks.
They 4-shot him, don't they?
That's more like a 3-shot, I think.
Oh, it's a 3-shot. It was a really bad decision to take that fight, regardless, over the top
Right.
of a Spore Crawler. He targeted the Spore Crawler. He ended up getting one, but there was a second there. Giant Gnome, a little bit of metagame.
And now these Hydras are enough.
zone.
And I mean, without too much hesitation, I would say from the 15-minute mark on, Giant Gnome had this game.
He's been steadily in control, and we do have Ling's coming in to support. But if this third hatchery goes down, and then he's able to set up his third, which is just now popping out, don't see this going way of Quakecomm anytime soon.
And at this point, it really isn't even about the hatcheries. It's about the Mutalisk count. As long as he can keep killing Mutalisks, because if you have a hatchery, it's only producing one larva every 15 seconds. And there's the GG. Giant Gnome takes it.